Yeah, you could be the greatest, you could be the best, you could be the King Kong banging on your chest. You could beat the world, you could beat the war, you could talk the clock, go banging on his door. You could throw your hands up, you can beat the clock, you can move a mountain, you can break rock, you could be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you gon' find yourself. Stand in the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Welcome in, everybody, to the And Off the Bench podcast. My name is Jim Cross. I'm joined, as always, by my best friend, my co-host, Daniel Ball. And tonight, we're doing a little something different. We're going to be talking to the person who's getting all the action on the field, on the court. But before we introduce her, we got to plug the best sponsors in the land, Daniel. What shirt you wearing, Daniel?
Chinook Seeds.
Chinook Seedery, 8 flavors, mild to wild, the best in the game, less salt, no sandpaper tongue. If we can give you a tip, barbecue, cinnamon toast, mix them together in a bag, Daniel. Smoking toast, the greatest creation you may have ever done outside of your kids.
Look, I mean, I'm not good at much, but I mean, eating and finding flavor combos, I'm pretty good at that. And having
don't sit there and
kids.
play everybody like you eat a ton. I've seen how shredded you are. You got to be on the right diet. Not me, but that's why I'm going to plug the next one. Old Dominic Distillery in the heart of downtown Memphis. Bourbon, vodka, whiskey, gin, they got it all. Daniel, South Main Front Street in Memphis, you know, it's our hometown. It's one of the best parts. It's a staple, over 100 years of tradition. But if you're not in Memphis, hey, olddominicdistillery.com, you can go on there, get your favorite bottle. Daniel, I need to get you a bottle sent. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I know they got some small batch, some new stuff coming out. So if I gotta wait a little bit towards the fall season when they start releasing, I'm okay with that. But if they got something new, you know me. I'll try it.
They stock it for Omaha. You're not coming to Omaha, so that being said, I got to get you a bottle sent your way. Pour a little bit out since you weren't able to make it. And even though these two clash, we're gonna go from bourbon to Jesus. But man, you can do both. Jesus One Apparel, John 16:33, empowering young men and women across athletics. Daniel, it's been fun to see all these guys in the regionals wearing their shirts, but let's get to it. Ava Garza, the Ava Garza. I like the way her profile says it. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
We are excellent. Glad to have you on. Glad to do something different. You know, I got to ask you right off the top. We ended our episode last night as LSU was down 5-1. Were you in attendance or were you locked in? Where were you at for this game?
I was sitting on my couch. I was locked in with my parents. I was a little bit nervous, and we were actually in Center Court Pizza. And I told my mom, I was like, we have to leave. Like, I can't watch this like here. I need to be in the privacy of my own home if I freak out.
Yeah, it was. Anybody who didn't feel super nervous when it's 5-1 is lying about it. I saw a great video that a guy made, LSU fan, just at 5-1. He was really, same thing as you. Got to turn the TV off. But as soon as we made it 5-4, I started to believe. Case and Evans has been on the show.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Case and Evans.
Absolute dog. I actually put a clip out today if you didn't see it. But him talking about when he comes to the mound, he has that closer's mentality. Not going to give up a hit, not going to give up a walk. And Daniel, let me bring this to you for a second. 9 Ks in a row. That's just something we don't see. How special is that?
It's not as special during the regular season as you magnify it now, because 9Ks is spectacular at any point, but when you're in the postseason and a level and at a place and a stage that it's win or go home, like that is clutch.
Absolutely. So they ultimately get it done. Ethan Fry, who's also a guest of the show, big time, Luis Hernandez. So they get it done. Ava, how excited are you for the Super Regionals? They get to host a Western Virginia team who's really good. You have to respect anybody coming in, but you also have to feel confident because Clemson didn't make it. They were the host of the region. So most people are feeling good about LSU. And as a matter of fact, odds-on favorite from Vegas to win the World Series. So how you feeling about them?
I have all the faith in the world. For as far as LSU baseball, I mean, I'm really, really happy that Houston is getting represented. I think Aaron Beatty and Evans are doing an amazing job at representing Houston. And it's been amazing because Kaysen was actually one of my first Tiger interviews. He's actually one of the interviews that got me into Tiger TV. So now looking back from that interview and now I get to watch him go do amazing things on the field. It's absolutely insane.
You did the one where I thought, Daniel, if you just did a quick glance at him from a profile and he had his shades and he had the chain on, I thought it was Dylan Cruz. I thought it like he had the swagger, he had the beard, he had the hair, and then now he looks like Tony Vitello. You know, Kaysen Evans kind of like out there looking like the best dudes in baseball. I see what he's doing, and now he's created his own name.
He's definitely I don't know. It's like Clark Kent, he reveals himself as Superman. It's like this alter ego personality. It's like, but it's got swag to it. Like Superman doesn't have a whole lot of swag. He's just about business.
One thing, Daniel, that's going to kill we talk about this all the time. Being the closer is the baddest dude on the team. He's going to be a starter next year, and it's just not going to be as fun. Like it was like Landon Sims, right? When they made him a starter for Mississippi State in 2022, it just didn't have the feel as it does when Casey comes in to slam the door.
I mean, you see what happens when a guy like Liam Doyle comes out there and he wants to slam doors all of a sudden. Like, it's just, you get in it. You're pumped.
Yeah, well, we're big fans of Coach Walter at Wake Forest, but he may have stirred the pot and poked the bear a little too hard.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Hey, if there's anything you don't do, Ava, you don't call star players names, and you sure don't call them derogatory names because you might get something that you don't want.
And here's the thing, like I'm okay with him calling time and like slowing him down. Like that's exactly what I would do as a coach. But all the nonsense back and forth, like the coaches chirping at, the coaches chirping at players. I mean, like, give me a break. He's too old for that. He's not gonna win.
Here's a final thought on that because we got to get to Ava. Tennessee, I think, with the way they are, rub people wrong so much, Daniel. And obviously, they don't bother us, but I think they bring out the worst in a lot of people.
Yeah, I think they get unwarranted villainization. I don't think that they are necessary. I think they do villainous things, but I think a lot of times other teams do things that cause them to react, and so now they're saying they're the villain.
To the box, and Ava can maybe, if she was there, I've heard the fans chant louder and get chirpier than normal when it's Tennessee. Now, it didn't help. I told you that on that Friday, 3.5 hour rain delay, plenty of time to drink, concessions were still open, play until 1 a.m. That doesn't help things, but Tennessee kind of was, asking for a little bit of that, and the fans had no problem giving it to them. Were you at
LSU?
Oh, I was there. I dragged my friends. I was like, come on, we're going.
And they're so mad because you had them into a game that didn't start till 10 o'clock.
A 3-hour rain delay is like the jackpot of all LSU baseball. They're like, you mean to tell me we get 3 extra hours and then we get to come back in this place?
I never thought because, I sent you the pictures waiting for the players, and afterward, I never thought I would be in Alex Box Stadium at like 2:05 a.m. I took a picture of the scoreboard and it was like, and the thing is, Daniel, it never turns off in there, so you would never know the difference.
No, not at all. But Ava, we got to get to you. We got to open up the book of Ava Garza. So let's start at the beginning. All right. Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about home.
A small town out of Houston, Texas. Going to Baton Rouge, I always have to just say Houston because everyone is like, what is Lake Jackson, Texas? But I always just say that it's the hometown and the original town of Buc-ee's because that's how everyone knows it. That's what we go with.
That is the greatest town ever.
Exactly.
Daniel, don't you dare say Buc-ee's overrated. Keep it to yourself.
That's the biggest hot take on this show. Buc-ee's overrated.
He says everything is overrated, Ava. Don't take
that's not true.
It is the safest gas station. We have 3 in my hometown, and I have no bad reviews.
He said rom-coms are overrated, Star Wars is overrated. Like he does this weekly. Whatever the guest likes, it's overrated.
I kind of agree with Star Wars, not really my jam, but everything else.
Well, rom-coms is something he hates on the most. He doesn't like country music either.
Not a huge country music person at all.
Oh my goodness.
I do have a question, Daniel. She says small town, but she brought up Kate Arambidi. He brought up what was from his small town. Me and Daniel can't wait to go where Kate's from. It's small, but there's a restaurant that we want to try now.
I'm ready. I'm ready for that. He's talking about a diner.
It's like a small mom and pop, but he said you could get the best of the best. So do y'all have any places? Like that's what Daniel wants to know. He wants to know where you're from. Is there somewhere he could go?
I'm trying to think. So in Baton Rouge, whenever I'm like at home, I always make my parents come to El Taco Spot. I refuse to eat Mexican food in Baton Rouge. It's just not my thing. I'm terrified of it because whenever you live so close, I feel like, Baton Rouge is not the place to be eating Mexican food. So I just refuse. If anyone's like, what should we eat? I'm like, You know my limits. Mexican food is where I draw the line in Baton Rouge.
I almost ate Mexican for the first time last time I was there. The place that's right next to Walk-Ons. Walk-Ons was so packed, and my son wanted Mexican food, but then we went in there and it was like an hour wait. But I had to ask. I didn't even know it was next door. I had to ask where one was, and they told me, "Oh, there's one like right next door." And I was like, "Well, I didn't know because to your point, I don't come to Baton Rouge looking for Mexican food."
Exactly. Like whenever my parents visit, we stay far away from Mexican food and we're all over Cajun food. So
There you go.
It seems like there's rules about those sorts of things. Like if you're in Baton Rouge, like like the rules are like you don't open a Mexican restaurant. Like you just
Like
don't.
Superior Grill's huge, Daniel, but it's not really you know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
Mexican restaurant, but it's not really.
It's got rice.
It looks like it. It feels like it. It's not it. You know what I mean? If I can get burgers and chicken and all that stuff, it's not a
not the
Mexican restaurant.
place.
It's a little. It's like bar food. Like you can get a little bit of everything. But Ava, obviously, you talk about bringing family in and going out and doing all these things. But talk to us a little bit about family. What's the family dynamics? You got brothers, sisters? Are you the oldest, the youngest?
Oh, it's all girls in this house except for my dad. So you can imagine his surprise whenever I'm like his 17, 18-year-old daughter is like, "Hey dad, I need you to take me to a football game because I decided that I'm going to be a sports reporter now." He was like, "What?" Because I was a dancer, cheerleader. I was never like, my mom put me on a soccer field and I cried for most of the season. I was like, "Please get me out of here. I hate sweating." I'm like, "Oh my God, get me out." But I'm the oldest of two sisters, so it's just the three of us. And then my mom, my dad, and my dog. That had to be a boy because my dad refused to have more girls in the house.
So that's where I was, and I lost that battle. I had two girls, and we got put on a list for a rescue, and we got picked. And guess what? We get another girl dog.
Oh, lucky you.
You're holding
female.
it down, though, Daniel. You're holding it down beautifully.
I'm doing the best I can.
Somehow doesn't like rom-coms with all those women in the house. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
I mean, we're not at the age where rom-coms are big for us. But I tell Jim this, Ava, is that it's not against the rom-com. It's just movies in general. Like I just don't have the time to sit and watch a movie. Give me a show and give me an hour, 30-minute show. Yeah, I can catch that at my own leisure. I just don't have 2 hours to sit and devote to a movie, and I don't want it to be a good movie. And then I, piecemeal it together, and I watch the movie after 30 different sittings because I've seen
Only
5
when
minute
he had
clips
COVID
of it.
did he actually sit down and watch movies. So he had to be permanently ill.
And that was superhero movies. They were entertaining and action packed. I can get down with that. The problem with superhero movies, and I'll get off the movie train, is that there's so many worlds and so many characters and so many storylines. It's like, which do I watch first, and what order do I watch them?
For some people, Daniel, they're not into sports. So, like my son, who even though he comes with me all sporting events, he knows all those characters and all those places. No different than me, and you can rattle off stats and rosters and everything. So, for some people, that's just their thing. Right. But I'll say this about his girls and how much of a blessing it was, Ava. He's got 2 aspiring gymnasts. His wife was a dancer. And if it's not for that, we do not get into gymnastics the way we do. We were typically just do it as far as female sports. We were doing softball, we were doing soccer. I talked to Daniel. I was like, "What do you think about LSU gymnastics?" Because he had me watching it at his house. That's gymnastics is something they had on regularly there. And he's like, "Absolutely." And so then the more and more we got into it, and now it's the second biggest sport. We talk about it. We're getting to talk to national champions on a regular basis, going to events. So if Daniel doesn't bring that world to me, if he doesn't have his daughters, that's probably something we don't have on the show. So his daughters are a huge blessing.
Hey,
absolutely.
Shout out to her. She's bringing the fire. So you mentioned playing soccer, and I'm assuming that this was early on, and you say early on that it's not for you. Like, what age are we talking about? Like, little kid, like trying to try all sports and go, "Nah, that's just ain't me."
Oh, my mom never really forced me to do sports. Her one ask was like, everybody has to do a team sport. That she just said that it's something to like grow as a human being and as a person. It's important to be able to work with other people. And group sports and team sports is where it all started. So my mom let me start dance whenever I was 2, but I think soccer was maybe around like 8 or 9. And then my mom was like, yeah, we're trying this first season. You have to do it. And I got through it. I got through it. It was a tough season, but I got through it.
So you did your team sport, you did your thing, and you realize, you know what, this ain't for me. So then what? You just become a student, and then you kind of eventually go, you know what, I like the reporting side of this.
It's actually, my story always is a little bit crazy whenever people ask me about it, because I started dancing whenever I was 2.5. And there were some breaks in between, but I did competitive dance. I had my mom on her competitive dance team mom grind. Like it was real for a while. And my freshman year of high school, I did cheer. Same with sophomore year. My junior year, I decided to switch over to dance. I'm like, no, dance is my thing. So I switched back over to dance. And then my junior summer going into senior year, I saw a little ad on Instagram that said that Vipe was looking for sports reporters. And my mom was like, my whole family is always like, oh my gosh, she talks so much. You should be on the news. Like, you love being in front of a camera. And I feel like that all stemmed from my mom recording everything that I did since I was like a baby. And so then, got on the phone with the people that I work with now, Jackson, and he's like, yeah, like go for it. This is the schedule, and pick a game and you can go. And I was like, yeah, okay. And, it's my senior season of dance, and I'm excited to, finish everything out. And I kind of got into my senior year. I guess it was the first week, and I went to, it's called Lamar. And I mean, their team was a powerhouse at the time. They're on a little bit of a rebuilding season now, but before, they were these amazing coaches and this amazing school district that was so willing to let me in, and they already had a prior relationship with Vipe, the company that I worked for. And so they brought me in with open arms, and I was like shaking whenever I went up to the coach. I was like, hi, my name is Ava Garza and I'm working for Vipe. And my
you weren't
dad,
the Ava Garza yet, huh?
Oh, I wasn't the Ava Garza yet. And it's kind of funny because I always, vlogged my day. My mom, whenever she gave me social media, which was my freshman year, she was always like, make sure that you're the real type of person on social media. Like, make sure you're the person that whenever people scroll, they can see who you are, just not all the good things, but the bad and the good and everything in between. So I've always tried to keep my social media pretty realistic and down to earth, and everyone's like, oh my God, you post so much, but I try to keep everything real that I do on a day-to-day basis.
Compliment I'll give you. Daniel knows this. I will scroll the whole social media before I invite anybody on the show. And so if I see something that deters me in any way, I want to do it. And your stuff was all fun. That's why I was saying I love seeing the journey. So you've handled your account right, is where I wanted to go with that.
Yes, yeah. Thank you. And then after I did, the Lamar game, got through it, my dad held my camera the first time I ever did an interview. And after that, I was like I came home and I was like, I really loved doing that. Like, talking to the athletes was amazing. I will always say that interviewing, I love talking to college athletes. It's amazing. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like talking to athletes in high school, like there's so much hope in them. They have every opportunity in the world to be whatever they want to be. And it's just crazy that this is what they're choosing to do with their time. There's all these like clubs and all these organizations, and instead you choose to be a football player, to be a baseball player, to be a volleyball player. And then, so for, I guess, about 2-3 weeks, if I had a dance team event, I was at a football game dancing on Friday. I was interviewing people Thursday, Saturday. If I had a game on Saturday, I was in Houston Friday or Thursday, Friday. So my dad was driving me probably on average, maybe 6 to 9, or it was probably like 4 to 6 hours a week just to get me into downtown Houston where all the good football teams are, because I love my high school, but we're not a football school. And then whenever I was like, this is a really good opportunity. Vipe is such an amazing platform to work off of. I would really love to talk to some of the, football players from my high school, see if we can get them a little bit, a little bit of action, and maybe someone will follow them, someone important. And I was able to interview one time after the game. And then someone from my school district was like, hey, it was like conflict of interest since I was a student and, there, and interviewing someone from the other team obviously wasn't a great look, I guess. And so they told me that I couldn't do both and that I couldn't be a reporter. And
was it this one?
Actually, no, crazy enough, that was from this year. I'm so happy that
that's a big dude right there.
Oh, let me tell you, Dickinson is coming out with some crazy athletes. Everyone sleeps on Dickinson.
Daniel, the fact that that's a high school football player is crazy. That's how they do them in Louisiana, bro.
Clearly,
if you scroll back a little bit from, I guess, probably a year maybe ago, there's a kid, his name is Hodge. He's huge. And it's crazy because I think the tallest person from our football team is maybe like 6'6'1". And then you look and you're going to Katy and you're going to Lamar and you're going to Tomball, and these guys are like 6'4", 6'5". And I was like, whoa.
Is it more fun or is it intimidating when they're like a big presence?
I always say that like the people that are, the linemen, they don't get interviewed a lot. So they actually have like the most personality, and they look like they would be really, really intimidating, but I'm never really scared to talk to them because I feel like they're the nicest people always.
Daniel, I'd agree with that. Offensive linemen especially. It's always fun, guys.
Oh, hey, I can relate. I know what that's like. It's obviously you're way better at this than we are because we've had high school athletes on here, and it takes a little bit to get them going. And for you, it seems like it's a little bit easier for them to open up. I don't know if it's
gymnasts are the only ones that open up.
Yeah.
The boys never.
Early on, I found out that, so I obviously talk a lot. It's been my entire personality since I was little, but I've realized that the more that I overshare, the more comfortable they're like, please stop talking. I'll talk. Just please stop talking. So now I know I just, talking like, oh my gosh, hi, my name is Ava. It's really, really nice to meet you. I'm from Lake Jackson, Texas, or I'm from Houston. And then we start talking and I'm like, oh yeah, I've interviewed a couple of your friends. I'm really, really excited to get to talk to you. And then I always stalk people on Instagram before I interview them just so I get a little bit of their home life. And I'm like, oh, like, how's your sister? How's your brother? And then we can go from there because they're like, oh, okay, like we're cool.
But they can see the authenticity in you. A lot of people, even in an early time, feel like because they hold the microphone, they're like special. And so the fact that you actually care and are really into your job, they can read that, I promise you, because I think that's the reason why me and Daniel have had such success. Like, we don't act like we're better than anybody who comes on our show, no matter how many years we've done that, how many big guests we had. Like, we get excited for every single one that comes on.
Yeah, definitely. For you, obviously, your inspiration, it's apparent, but who is the inspiration?
Oh,
you see the passion, we hear the passion, but where does that passion come from?
I guess I wouldn't really say it's a person. I mean, I look up to people like Erin Andrews and my mentor, Zach Tawatari. He works at KSU 11. Mike Orta, who I think now works with the Texans, maybe the Astros. And I mean, Molly McGrath is like, oh my gosh, I was obsessed with her. I saw her in Death, or where did I see her? Oh no, she was at the Texans stadium for the bowl game, and I was like freaking out. My mom was like, Ava, calm down. I was like, oh my God, like she's in my presence. She's here. It was crazy. But I would say the biggest inspiration is the athletes that I talk to, because my favorite part isn't really talking about their stats. I mean, I think that what they do is amazing, but I also feel like it's so important to talk about what they are and who they are off of the field, off of the court, because I feel like sometimes, especially at the collegiate level, so many people kind of take away from the fact that they're people. They have lives outside of, who they are. Like,
even more so, we're bothered by the fact that they take away from their age. They act like 18 to 22-year-olds are 30-year-old adult millionaires, and they're they always say because they're making money, they're grown men now in the NIL era, and it's like an 18-year-old kid is a kid.
Yeah, it's aggravating to me when if you were to stack up resumes of like childhood and like wrongs and rights, the people who are out there saying these things about the athletes need to check themselves, because their resume ain't that great.
Well, they started
the first
a commercial, Daniel.
Say something.
They started a commercial, Daniel, that's been playing through the regionals, and they were focusing on sports betting, but I like it all together because they said if you talk bad to a collegiate athlete because they cost you a bet, they literally go, Daniel, they tell you you're a loser on TV. I love it. This commercial like holds something back, and you know how we all feel like you're a loser if you talk to them whether you lose or bet or not. Like, they're like, you're trying to say, Ava, they are people, they're good people. And a lot of times, to your point, Ava, and this is why we do this show, they perceive to know them I cut a clip the other day, and it was Andrew Fisher, who is somebody who's polarized in a very bad way, but he was talking about Tony Vitello from Tennessee, and he says people pretend to know him from the 5% of his life that they see. And that's the reality with everybody in sports. We watch them play a game, and so we think we know who they are and can perceive and talk to them in a certain way when, like you're saying, they're normal people. So I love that that's your passion, because that's our passion. Like, we want to get to know them. And then when you watch them, we tell people, and we get it from all the people who listen to our show, you start to become a fan of people who aren't on your team because you learn about them. You see who they are. Like, a good one for us is Luke Hill from Ole Miss. Ended up having Arkansas, LSU, Tennessee fans who now root for him because not only did he come on here multiple times, like, he was getting tickets for opposing fans that were coming in, even though it rubbed Ole Miss people wrong, but as a favor to me. And they were like, that's a good dude right there. And then after the game, even though they were opposing fans, he brought them down to sign autographs and take pictures. And that's you learn who he is as a person. Forget what you know about him as a baseball player. And so I think that's crucial that that's what you do. Don't ever stop doing that.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. But let's get into college. So, obviously you have a lot of success with Vipe, and colleges is the most natural next progression. So why LSU? What was it about LSU where you were like, that's where I got to go?
I would say that if you know me, I know everyone knows that I just refuse to cheer for A&M. Like, I just won't do it. I refuse to wear maroon. Like, I just won't do it. And it's funny because College Station is 2 hours away, and I just refuse. Like, I'm like, I can't do it. I went on campus just to experience the big campus, and I told my mom, I was like, absolutely not. Like, this is just not happening for me.
And also, does it, as somebody who used to cheer and dance, does it bother you that the guys are doing it there?
It was just really, really confusing because I thought it was fake. Like, my whole family, we don't cheer for A&M. Like, we just don't. And if I cheer for anybody from Texas, it's absolutely UT. But I've never felt the need to go to an A&M game. So imagine my surprise whenever I'm, recording, doing pregame social stuff at like the LSU versus A&M game, and these guys are cheering in front of me, and I'm like, where are the girls at? Like, this is really weird. And then I was like, wait, this is real. Like, it's a real thing. They actually don't have girl cheerleaders.
Real thing.
It's fake.
They truly do have a lot of great tradition at A&M, and there's a lot of cool stuff. But for every cool thing me and Daniel talk about, it's weird. Like, we were in Omaha last year, and they do the bubbles when they score, and it's like, why? Like it's fun, it's friendly, but it's like, I don't know. Like, it's me and Daniel are just like bubbles. Like, I don't know. But it's everything that they do. They even do these weird chants for their pitchers when they're warming up, and we're like, it's over the top. But I guess everything about them is over the top.
Yeah, they're just very strange. They are the anomaly of college baseball because they're really good, but yet they just don't fit in. They just don't fit in.
I do have a question for you about that game. They were showing during that game, they kept showing the decibel meter, and it was getting louder than Tiger Stadium per what they're thinking. Was it actually louder than Tiger Stadium?
Everyone asked me this.
We need to know.
I'm not going to lie. Whenever I watched the run out, I absolutely 100% got chills. Like, I got chills watching their whole like pregame situation. With that being said, it was not that great. Like,
there was a time for me where I questioned. I'll tell you when I questioned, and then and then you can give me the first third down of the game, and they played Mo Bamba real loud.
They replayed that the entire time because they knew that was the loudest they were going to get. I'll stand on that.
What I hate was that's an LSU thing. That's my biggest problem about them using. We used that back in 2019.
I don't know. I just feel like it's crazy to me because if you scroll on social media and you're from Baton Rouge, go to LSU, anything on TikTok, I see at least, I would say like 1 in every 10 scrolls, there's a like POV, you're in Death Valley at a night game. And then it's like every single song. And I feel like that's so authentic to us. And I feel like those songs, like you're hearing the band play. Whenever you hear them running out, you're hearing the da na na na. And I'm like, how can you not get chills from that? Whenever you hear
it's to your point, I've been in 20 different places now that I've seen to try to do swag surfing. And going back to 2019 again, no one ever did it like that stadium.
It's not the same. With that being said, I think Death Valley just has such an authentic feeling to it. I feel like everything that happens in that stadium is our thing. Like, it's not like a song someone else did. It's not a song written or done by someone else. Like, it's our thing. And
Well,
I feel
I went to Alabama for the first time, and I gave my son. I actually, you'll be proud of this, Ava. I said they were doing Sweet Home Alabama, and my son did not like it. And I said, son, it's the same way they feel about us with calling Baton Rouge. I was like,
oh, absolutely.
so I was like, I can't have any issue with the song, whether I like it or not. There's people who feel the same thing about our song.
I mean, LSU's very, very creative with their songs. I will say that.
Oh no, don't go there. Family show.
They
No,
are
the best part was that chant was going on during LSU Florida. I told you, Daniel and Ava, my son was not paying attention when it happened, and I was so scared that first time because they were so loud. And then they were coming through the second time, and I caught it this time, and so I start talking to him so he can't hear. And I'm like, I'm trying to keep the innocence of my child, but there was really no point, Daniel, because on the way out, all he was doing was chanting, "It sucks to be a Florida Gator." I don't know where he just went, but. With that, I'll carry on until he comes back. That don't usually happen, Ava. But let's talk about LSU. So you obviously make this decision to go there for that. I see the pictures. Tell us about the LSU Manship School, because I've never got to hear about it and learn anything about it.
So I'm not. I haven't taken officially any specialty classes, or I call them specialty classes. I'm actually a double major. I'm a business major and I'm a mass communication major. My mom felt like it was important to have,
Absolutely.
as people a degree under science. So for me, I mean, the mass comm school is amazing. I got to work with Tiger TV the past 2 semesters. And I learned so much. Miss Cindy, she also teaches in the mass communication school. She's one tough cookie, but she is one of the best things that has ever happened to me. Career-wise, she was very, very tough critiquing, but I feel like whenever she gave me these critiques, I felt more ready to, put my stuff on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter, all the things, because I felt like if Miss Cindy told me that it's good, I know that it's good. And I feel like especially for sports mass communication people, I mean, LSU is one of the best whenever it comes to the brand. I mean, the brand LSU now has an Instagram. I mean, how many?
According to Will Stout, when he left from LSU to USC, his quote was, "I'm going to the only school that's better in the film department." And USC's always been known as the place. It's Hollywood, right? But per his comment, he was basically saying LSU was number 2. And to be in the whole nation to just say that, and when you look at the video department of what they do week in and week out in every sport, I definitely feel like they're second to none.
I mean, I have actually the only girl that I know from my hometown that goes to LSU. She actually does photography for LSU Pics. And I mean, we did yearbook together and that was amazing. But I mean, her photography was always good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I learned so much from her in high school. But then I, follow her to LSU, get to go see her do amazing things. And then I look at her, profile, and you can see such a difference in her photography. And I mean, that goes to show that I've seen a difference in the way that I am a reporter. I'm more confident. I'm a lot better, well-spoken, more well-prepared for interviews. And then I look at her photography and I think it goes to show that mass communication is just, I mean, it's under journalism, right? And it's just like such an amazing school. It's a well-rounded school. I mean, they've built a program that has such amazing professionals that have been like boots on the ground to different situations that can tell us like, hey, if you need to go to a night game and you've been sitting there for 6-7 hour delay, so now you're going from a day to night game, this is how you change your settings, right. And this is how you check the audio, and this is how you change a camera from auto to manual. Like
never thought about that as you bring that up, because we brought that baseball game up earlier. Yeah, that's a change of everything and how you're handling everything.
I mean, it's hot and it's humid in Baton Rouge, so if it's fogging, what are you supposed to do? Those are the things that someone that has to have been in the field, like those are the things that you don't know unless you get there.
Do you happen to know Hillary Chinook?
I do not. I don't think
I met her in Omaha, but she was taking pictures for the College World Series for LSU. I think she was outsourced. I think she was LSU grad, but I think she was somewhere else. But to the point of everything you're saying, I saw what it looks like, and she showed me like her lens instead of seeing it on social media, but straight from the lens. And it's like, oh, that's incredible. That like it gives you perspective. You can see it. Yeah, you can see it on Instagram, but it's different when you can see it in their camera and see what they captured, and that's cool.
Absolutely.
So do you get to, so in your pictures, we see you obviously interviewing, but I do see you with some camera work. I do see you on the sideline stuff. Do you get to, as a mass communications person, do you get to do a little bit of everything, or is it strictly mostly reporting?
So what I did was actually Tiger TV, and that's something that you have to interview for outside of mass communication. I was the only freshman that got in 2 semesters ago, so I guess my fall semester. I interviewed for it, and I've never gone through the interview process, like as far as like me interviewing someone else for the roles, but there's a lot of people that interview. I know tons of people that came in the next semester, and that was their 3rd or 4th time trying to get in, and they go by semester basis. And I think that's kind of something that stands out from LSU because we have all these different clubs and all these different organizations. They were under student media, so you get paid, and it's like a job. And you do the full bit. That's where you saw all my camera work. That was a big learning curve for me. I've never had to do that before. I learned how to use, the big video cameras, figure out how to use audio, the different microphones, because I've always used the little I actually have it right here. It's like the little Rode pieces, and that's what I always use because it plugged into my phone and it was easy. It was quick. My dad could use it. We're good for the
what
season.
Daniel's been telling me to get because I just do everything through my phone.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I mean, I actually have the cord right here. It literally plugs into this and then plugs into your phone. It's the easiest thing ever, and you can see it moving back and forth. It's like my go-to, and I will die on that hill. But I think that was the best thing that I could have done. I'm not returning next year because I'm working for Voice of College Football, but I always love it because the teachers are so big on you use it as a stepping stone. That's what college is for. And so these student media things are literally meant for us to be able to, move on. And it's literally just setting the groundwork and the pathway for us to, go out into the workforce and be successful.
Yeah, no doubt. I love it. And that's why we wanted to hear about this journey, something different, new. I'm curious because I saw the pictures. What all sports have you covered? Because I noticed that you obviously said basketball, football, and even volleyball. Are those the only 3, or have you covered even more than that?
I definitely haven't posted anything from the baseball game, but I was at a baseball game at Alec Box. I did do baseball in high school as well, but I did do a couple of games for LSU as well. So I did football, baseball. I've done basketball, women's and men's. Women's basketball was actually insane to be there.
Yeah, were you happen to be there when they hosted South Carolina? Was that crazy?
It was crazy. I don't think I got to go to that game, actually. I think I was probably
they were like, you got to have a ticket even if you're working.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I'm trying to think. Oh, and I've also been to a tennis game. That was crazy. I've never really paid attention to tennis before, and it was insane to watch, but I got to do it. And I like to say that I did it because that was really, really hard, and I'm proud of myself.
A funny story that I've never even told Daniel, when I was in Knoxville for baseball for the Florida series. So they weren't playing LSU. So anybody should know that's not LSU's baseball, but LSU was walking through the hotel in their gear, had all their stuff in him. Everybody's like, is that the LSU baseball team? They don't look very big. I was like, man, that's the tennis team. Got to be. And they were like, how you know it's the tennis team? I was like, look at them. I was like, I'm not even trying to be mean, but that's tennis guys I've ever seen. So then one gets on the elevator and I asked him, and it was, but what was funny was of all of them, he was like 6'6", and I was like, that's a scary tennis player. But he was from like out of the country. But it was funny just because Tennessee was playing Florida. So why would LSU baseball be walking through the hotel? Obviously, they have more than one sport. But gotta ask, of your events that you've done, what is your favorite sporting event you've covered?
Okay, I had a good experience at baseball 100%. I personally love football because you can see everything happening right in front of you, whereas baseball, you have to be in the media box, you know what I'm saying, or you're shooting from the stands. Football, I had an amazing experience because if you look at my Instagram, I got my shot of the year because I got the catch whenever Kyron caught it from Nussmeier. I was in that corner standing next to Mike whenever it all happened, and it was absolutely insane. And then, a week or two later, I go to the A&M LSU game at College Station, and Aaron Anderson runs towards me and is like spinning the football after he just like ran it in, and it was so surreal. That was my first TV debut, and it was insane because my grandma was sending me pictures. She was like, "Oh, I just saw you on the TV," and so my family says that was my TV debut. The A&M and LSU.
Here we go. Oh, come on, wait. Right there.
That was my shot.
Mike in there. Boom.
Insane.
How many times have you been close to getting just trampled?
every time I do any LSU sport, ever. I always actually at the A&M LSU game, I was like, oh no way, I'm safe because if any like A&M's not going to rush the field for LSU. You know what I'm saying? I was like, there's no way. Then imagine my surprise at the end. Apparently, I once again never went to an A&M game. I wasn't aware of their tradition that they like run or march across the field with their ROTC. And they were like, dude, if you don't move the next 2 minutes, you're gonna get trampled. And I was like, thank you to whoever told me that, because I would have gotten absolutely run over by like all these people in white. I was terrified. But it was actually like my person in charge, my director. She called me from the stands and she was like, hey, like if you don't move, you're gonna get trampled by all of this LSU student section because they're gonna rush the field if we win. And I was like, okay, so then that's why I moved to the other side, and that's why I got that shot. Shout out Jada.
There it is.
There it is. So football's favorite. So here's the last question I got for you, and then I'm gonna let Daniel play a game. I've seen you when you get to dress up nice for an event, you get to do the red carpet type stuff. If you can choose between being on a field, and this is probably a hard question because obviously you're all into the sports, you want to be on the sideline, but also it's nice to get to dress fancy and be at the big events. So if you choose one, if you could be on the field or at a big time formal event, which one you picking?
On the field, 100%. I think it's really, really important and like it's very humbling to be able to talk to an athlete that just got off of, one of the most important moments or, what could be like, their play of their life. And you're able to talk to them or the game of their life, and you're that person that they're willing to come and talk to. I think that that's so important in capturing, that memory, how they're feeling in the moment. Like, yeah, that red carpet events are crazy, and you do get to see a lot more people or important people in a mass, but I feel like capturing, again, the athlete's like emotion right after, the play of the game, nothing can replace that.
Okay.
What are your plans for the summer? I mean, this
right now.
Yeah,
like
so what do you do in the summer?
It's not school.
Oh, I'm all over the place right now. So I will be back in Baton Rouge this weekend. I'm really, really excited to, just to visit. My best friend plays on the volleyball team, so she'll be back in town. So I'm really, really pumped. But right now I am working for Vipe again. I'm interning with them. I'm really, really
best friend.
What?
Who's your best friend?
Allie Kirchhoff. Okay. She's my bestest friend.
We cover LSU volleyball too, so we had to ask.
My friend, you just absolutely
I was thinking because when it came to freshmen, I was like, could it be Jessica Jones? We had a freshman on.
Jessica Jones is so iconic. I love her too. Meeting Allie, I get to meet, all of them, and they're all so amazing. They're so nice, and they're definitely like so welcoming. I love a good girl group. I don't get to hang out with girls a lot, so it's nice to know Craig.
We had her on, but the first one was 3 years ago when Journey first came in, and we had her on.
Journey's
and I told people,
cool. Yes.
We told people, we're like, just wait, this girl's gonna be a star. And then I tell Daniel, the first time I get to go and see her live, I'm like, this girl's like the Michael Jordan of volleyball. I mean, she's getting way up and she's spiking this thing down. And then I see her this past year, and she's a superstar, and all the kids are waiting to get autographs. And I was like, we knew this was coming when we interviewed her. And then I saw her for the first time. She's the real deal.
Yeah.
I had never met Nia before, and then I watched one of their spring games, and I was so amazed because she hops like so far off the ground. I'm like, she just jumped higher than however tall I am.
They do that so many times a game. I just get tired watching.
It's insane. I could never, and I'm amazed by them every single time.
Yeah, well, LSU is not short of anything sports. I tell Danielle all the time because my daughter was a freshman at LSU. She only went to a couple sporting events of each. I was like, not enough. If you're going to go to LSU, you got to go to as many as you can.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no reason not to be there.
She claimed like she had to study. That's ridiculous.
Come on now. And I still make it out to everything.
She went to LSU to do neuroscience. What is she doing? You got to do sports.
What are you talking about?
Well, Ava, it's been a blast having you, but before you go, you got to play a game. You down to play a game with us?
Sure.
All right. So it's really not really a game. I guess you could call it a game, but it's just blind rankings. Have you done blind rankings before?
Never.
All right. Well, then maybe it is a game. But
okay.
Here's the deal. We're going to give you a topic, and from that topic, we're going to give you names. One by one, you have to rank them out of 5 where you think they would go based on the topic. I'm only going to give you one name at a time, and I'm not going to tell you the names that are behind them. So you just got to kind of go and trust and feel like, hey, this is my list. But I know you're wondering, what is the topic? But before I give you the topic, Jim, blind rankings, who's it brought to you by? Could be anybody.
Got to go Jesus One Apparel again this time. Daniel, they were quick. They got the Tennessee softball girls their stuff for the Women's College World Series. They had it on. They got it to Southern Miss and the Super Regional. Obviously, this all started with Ole Miss and LSU, but their efficiency in getting the gear out and then how much everybody loves it, not just because of what it says, but how it feels. So shout out to Jesus One Apparel for being top of the game.
Yep. Shout out. All right. Here it is. Here's the topic. I know you're ready, Ava. Okay. Top 5 must interviews. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be number 1 is the got to have this interview. Number 5 is would love to have the interview, but not as much as the 4 in front of it. Okay. All right. So the first person on the list is none other than the man himself, Jaden Daniels.
Ooh.
I didn't say it was going to be easy.
I'm ranking?
Yeah, you're ranking in order, and you don't know who's coming next.
Yep.
Is he the best on the list, or is he the worst on the list? You have no clue.
He can never be the worst. Are we joking?
I mean, he
good athlete.
You ain't seen this list.
I'll give him. He can't be the worst. Okay, I'll give him a 3. A 3.
Solid way to start it.
Okay,
a 3. Okay, I mean, I would say that's probably the spot to go if you're not certain.
If you want me to interview you, I'll go wherever to interview you. I'm not even.
Boom,
I think you'll go wherever to interview this whole list.
All right, so the next one is Dylan Cruz. He is one plays for the Washington NFL team and the other plays for the Washington MLB team. Imagine that.
Oh, I don't get to.
I was there for their jersey swap when they played football. And
you're so lucky. I feel like you're gonna have some crazy people on this list. 4.
Oh, it's stacked. I'll lay it out. It's stacked. 4.
4.
All right. I don't know about that, but
that's promising. See. I like that.
we'll see. All right. Next name. The man himself, Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq Daddy.
Oh, I'm so scared you're gonna say Joe Burrow, and he's like my number 1. 2.
2? Okay. 2. Shaq, I like that. I think Shaq would be a really good interview, a really fun,
yeah, he's like
he's not intimidated by the big guy. We've already discussed this.
True. I don't know. He's a really big guy.
Oh, on the field, I was like, whoa, he's big.
You would have to elevate yourself to interview him, I think.
Because you'd be cut off on the screen.
Yeah.
All right. The next one. Paul Skeens.
Oh, no.
You got 1 and 4 left.
Oh, 1 and 4.
1 and 4 left.
No, she's got 1 and 5.
I'm 1 and 5.
DC 4.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. 1 and 5. You have it bookends left. So what you gonna do? Oh, Paul Skeens. He is the.
I should have put Paul Skeens at 4, and Dylan Cruz at 5. I feel. I'll put him at 5. Oh wait, who are you gonna say last?
I don't know. So, final answer: Paul Skeens at 5.
5.
All right. Well,
it's the right play.
It is, and you didn't know it, but here's who you got. For number 1, let me show you.
Woo! Okay, I knew it.
Joe Burrow, number 1.
Gotcha.
Shaq, number 2.
Not short of elite athletes. This is not even including the gymnasts and the women's basketball players. It's crazy.
Oh, 100%. I think you would have said Aaliyah Finnegan. I would have been like, move everything over. I want her at 2.
We can get you set up with. We've had Aaliyah on here. Aaliyah's where it's at.
I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh.
Where would you put somebody like a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase? Like,
Oh my
where
gosh,
would they
Justin
go?
Jefferson was in front of me whenever I was at Death Valley for my first time like covering the game, and I actually died. I was like, there's no way he's real. Behind, I would also put him at 2, to be honest, right. Actually, dare I say I put him at 1 and Joey at 2. I actually agree with that. Justin Jefferson, I'd put at 1.
The big question is, where would you put Jamarcus Russell? That's the big question.
You probably don't even remember Jamarcus Russell.
I mean, how could she not?
Look, all I know is where am I on this list now? Because I've interviewed 1, 4, and 5. Like, come on now.
You've interviewed 1, 4, and 5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
4. Skeens has been on this show twice. Joey B got to
Y'all are cool. Hello. I feel special right now.
Look, we wanted to have you on because you're going to be big time one day. We wanted to get to you before you're too good to talk to us.
Oh, I'll always talk to y'all.
Nice.
It took a long time to put the D in front of the Ava.
I don't know. It's hard to get a hold of Paul these days. Paul said the same thing, but the texts just don't get answered back every day like they used to. Sometimes fame can get you.
I'm stalking my Insta DMs always, so let me know.
I do have a just a final question before you bounce, Ava.
Yeah, go for it.
What is the ultimate like job? Like, what are you chasing after?
So I would say that Molly McGrath is my goal right now. I love what I'm doing, and I love that I have the opportunity, tell people stories and all of that. But I really do. I think that's why I stick with Vibe so much, because they allow me and they give me the opportunity to talk to people right after the game, right after everything happened. And that's like fresh emotions that you're never going to get anywhere else. And as amazing as telling people stories, with a big camera and you get to set up everything, I mean, I feel like sometimes it takes the authenticity out of it. So Molly McGrath, I mean, she's, ground.
But what's happened is, Ava, what podcasting has done is opened up the opportunity where you see a lot of people who will do one and then also do the other, so they can kind of do, because some people don't want to be held to one. They want to be diverse. But I do have a question, because would you want to be on the Houston sideline, being that you're from Houston?
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be the biggest full circle moment ever. To me, I think
Daniel, imagine her dad. He didn't get a boy, but he got the Houston.
He didn't get a boy, but he got me. And my dad and my mom always laughs because my little sister Adeline is the most athletic, 100%. She is pure baby. She's good at everything that she tries. And my mom was like, "Well, I never got a boy, but I did get Addie." But my mom is always is like, "Well, Ava, I'm so proud of you," because I think she told me she had her doubts whenever I told her that I wanted to go cover football. I mean, at the beginning, whenever it started, my mom was like, "Are you serious right now? Like, you don't even understand football," which was true. I didn't understand football. I had football players from my high school sitting down and color coding stuff with me so I could understand. My dad was explaining things to me as I was live tweeting. Like, I will 100% be honest with anybody that asked me. Like, I didn't know a thing whenever I started. And now looking back from where I was then, and now I'm like,
it's not like it's rocket science. So if you take the time to learn, it's not like the game is.
It's not rocket science. Best believe I was stalking Erin Andrews and stalking Molly McGrath because I'd never seen a post game interview. So
here's what I've learned is that when you have sports that have been around as long as baseball and football has, they have to be easy to understand and follow.
100%.
They just have to be. Like, nobody wants to spend time. That's why chess isn't the most popular sport, because nobody understands it.
Yeah, I would say the rules are kind of getting a little crazy. The ones that can be left up into, interpretation has definitely sometimes I'm like, are we serious right now? Now that I understand, I'm like, what kind of call was that, dude? But after learning, I mean, I encourage everyone to at least understand one sport, because I feel like it gives you something to cheer for. Even if you're not cheering for the team, you can cheer for a person. There's
the most awkward conversation you can have in your life, Ava, and I've had one of these at church before. Met a guy, nicest guy in the world. We're in a group of guys, and anyway, we're talking college football, as we would be in the South on a Saturday. And anyway, we're like, "Who's your football team?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't watch sports." And there was just this awkward silence amongst the circle of guys, because what do we say then? Like, you don't watch sports? I got nothing.
That's my common ground. Because now I'm like, oh, like, who doesn't watch sports? Like, you have to have someone that you cheer for. And imagine my surprise. Whenever someone that goes to LSU is like, I'm like, oh, like,
at least tell me you like golf or something. Tell me you like something. Like, you can't say you don't like sports as a whole. That's crazy.
Not my thing. And I was like, oh, what do I say? Like it's pure awkward silence.
So that's
Like,
her red flag.
Oh,
I'm like,
I'm sorry.
because someone that talks so much was then rendered speechless. So
Daniel, what's worse, a rom-com country music loving person or somebody who doesn't watch sports?
pick the right answer.
I mean, it's got to be sports. I mean, you can create common ground with rom-coms and stuff, but if you're not watching sports, it's like, what are we talking about here? Like,
I don't know what you can do with all your time. Like, I mean, I guess if you're like an avid book reader, you could be really educated. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. I can get into my phases of, and I'm sure everybody is like this, where I cannot watch sports a couple nights and just go, man, this is kind of nice to kind of zone out and do something different. But like eventually, like it's just habitual. Like if I turn on the TV or something, like I'm going to look at a
But
sport.
it's no different than why fantasy football is so popular, Daniel. People want to watch as much as possible. They want to maximize. And so every year that I tell myself, Daniel, I'm not going to have so many teams, what do? You know me. I do it because it maximizes the reason why I want to watch every game.
Got to. I mean,
we got to tune into Tiger TV next. Well, no, you said you're not going to be there. Where are you going to be?
I'll be a voice of college football if y'all want to watch. I'm really excited. I get to talk to the new recruits that back to my roots. I get to talk to the recruits that are going to be deciding where they want to go to college next. So I'm really, really pumped about that.
With this transfer portal, you gotta like take diligent notes on
everyone on their toes for sure.
I'm telling you, like you'll be with one person at a school and then the next year they'll be gone, and then now you got junior college guys that can play into their 45. Like,
well, what's crazy is baseball just getting to the super regionals, but all these guys, like literally you have 3 guys on LSU mentioned in the transfer portal, because if you're going to do it, you have to do it early. So they can't even wait for the season to be over. It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that some people are starting to announce their transfer portal. And it's definitely sad to see people go, but I mean, I think
realize that for every person that's going to leave, somebody new is going to come in. And with it being LSU, they're probably going to be elite.
I'm like, you see that sign that says all the national championships? I mean, someone good is bound to come in. Everything happens.
I mean,
look, let's call it what it is. I don't ever sugarcoat anything. You said you're honest. LSU ain't afraid to spend money, so come on with it.
Never.
They're going to get they're going to get the top players in the transfer portal. Like Tennessee is going for baseball is going to get the top.
Me and Daniel have interviewed all the best baseball players that have transferred, and it literally came to like 3 or 4 teams, and those teams, all SEC powerhouses, all have money. Like they want to win a national championship. They want to get paid. They want to become the best pro prospect they can. And there's only a handful of schools where you can do all those.
And
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say there's a few that stick out that are now making pretty good money because they decided they wanted to hit that transfer portal and see what the grass was like on the other side. And they quickly found out it was way greener.
Do you know, David, because we were the first people to ever interview Paul Skeens, he didn't go to LSU for money. Obviously Tommy White did, who came on here as well. But Paul had it all is about schedule. When he was at Air Force, the first home run he ever gave up was to Dylan Cruz. But that opening weekend for him in college baseball, played against LSU, he told us from that time on, he always dreamed of playing in that stadium. So I tell people, they're like, oh, he came there over the rest of the schools because paid more. I was like, that had nothing to do with it. We just got lucky that Air Force was on the schedule because from that time on, Paul Skeens only saw himself one place. So shout out to whoever put that on the schedule because it landed with Paul Skeens.
I mean, I think
why couldn't Memphis be on the schedule, bro?
I know, right? I mean, I think that whenever people like commit to LSU, I always tell people, I'm like, whenever they're committing to, the school, they're also committing to the community because it's like, I think that was like what made LSU just stand out to me. And I'm not even an athlete. Like it's a city. It's a city that.
Well, let's use gymnastics, for instance, Ava. We just had a gymnast that we've had on from Washington who's elite, and everybody's assuming it's because of money, but we've seen the videos of Washington. It looks like they're in a high school gym. You go to the PMAC, you're 13,000 people, pyrotechnics, all that. You know what you're getting. It's not just about the NIL, but it's about the experience, like you said, and then the culture that comes with it.
LSU is like an experience, and I don't think that I will stand on this. No SEC school is like LSU. I feel like it's completely separate. It's completely different. And I say that to everyone.
Who else is getting Netflix documentaries? Nobody.
Exactly. Like Y'all got to swing them.
Daniel, you had to wrap it. We could do. Daniel's like, oh, this all LSU talk. My poor Memphis Tigers don't got anything.
Nah, it's
they
all
were
right.
one of only 2 schools. Do you know, Ava? Before we let you go, your fun fact trivia: until their Tiger passed away a few years back, LSU and Memphis were the only 2 schools of the 11 schools that had a Tiger mascot that had a live mascot. They had a live Tiger for how many years, Daniel? Probably like 20, 30.
As far as I can remember.
So,
I mean,
fun fact for you: they actually had a real Tiger too.
Yep, it was nice. But all right, Ava, anything you want to plug or promote before you get out of here?
I don't think so. Go check out Vibe's Instagram and make sure to be looking out for on Voice of College Football.
You do Twitter as well, right?
Yes, I do. Have a great day.
That's what.
Have a great day.
It sounds like she's signing off right now.
On Instagram. Have a great day.
Yeah, that's
she really wants to go right now.
Jim, that should be your auto. Like, you should be able to set an auto reply to everybody, and that should be it. Have a great day.
So, Ava, I have made massive strides over like the last 6 months, but for about 4 to 5 years, Daniel will tell you I argued with people over nonsense on Twitter, and Daniel's right. Like, if I could have just had an auto reply where
this guy will ask me, should I reply to this? And I would vehemently say no.
Reply.
I said, if you have to ask,
do it.
I said, if you have to ask, it's a no. And then what do you know? I start looking through here and he's like, well, this and that. And I just had to. I'm like,
never reply to any haters on your social media.
That's the thing, right? 10 people could leave a response. 9 could be the most amazing responses ever. All it takes is that 10th person to get me ruffled. But like I said, I haven't done that. Daniel, I haven't done that the whole baseball season. I've made massive strides.
You've done pretty good. I will say that.
But this episode isn't even about me. Moving on.
Depending if you go to Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Hey, I haven't even done nothing with Fayetteville, Arkansas. What I've done is eliminated Arkansas guests, so we don't have to talk about Arkansas.
There you go. It is what it is. Well, Ava, we wish you the best of luck. Obviously, once you get grounded and figure out what's next and you get into it, let's come back on. Let's chat about it. Let's talk.
Absolutely. I will let y'all know.
Appreciate it. That's Ava Garza, everybody. If you like hearing Ava's story or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please share the podcast on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter, but be nice, or X, whatever you want to call it. I still got to call it Twitter. It's just, I don't know. It's just ingrained in me.
Right.
But head to YouTube, click like, subscribe, notifications. That way you're first to know when new content is dropped. Jim, what we got tomorrow? What we got the rest of the week?
You know what? Ava might like this. This is special. LSU Shreveport. We're going to have Jack Parks from the 59-0 LSU Shreveport baseball team. The first team in AIA or not, they're the first team in college baseball to go undefeated the whole way through. That has never been done before. So we get to have Jack Parks on to talk about it. So pretty excited. We got his whole team, the Jesus One shirts, in the LSU colors, of course, from sponsors and other donors. So shout out to them, ready to get his story. And then after that, Daniel, it's Omaha time, buddy.
It's going to be College World Series or bust. So it'll be fun. But until then, we'll see y'all tomorrow night. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We're out.